Hello everybody, it's me Manish ghimire, back again with your subject Science class 10, and today too I am continuing topic from acid, base and salt, and it is salt today. What is salt? Salt is also a compound that are mostly neutral in nature, means whenever indicators are treated with salt, they do not show any kind of change in their color. For example, whenever neutral salt is treated with red litmus paper or blue litmus paper or methyl orange or phenolphthalein, no matters what are the indicators chosen, salt does not show any kind of change with them. Means salts are mostly the neutral chemical substance. Let me take an example here. NaCl. Look at this compound. This is sodium chloride and is neutral substance. So, whenever this chemical compound is treated with indicators, no change in color is observed. So, this is one of the salts. Likewise, here we can take another example, potassium chloride, another example of salt. NaNO3, salt, KNO3, salt, K2SO4, potassium sulfate, salt, Na2SO4, salt. Then how do you identify salt? Means acids means something that is hydrogen containing compound that are corrosive in nature and that are acidic in nature, that shows some changes with indicators. Base are metallic oxides or their hydroxides, they also show change with indicators, but salts, mostly 98% of the salts do not show any change with indicators because they are chemically neutral in nature. Only some salts may show acidic property and some other basic property. These type of salts are very limited in number, but most of them are neutral. So, we can identify salts with the help of their chemical nature that they show with indicators. And another way, how do we find salts on the basis of molecular formula? I can tell you, see, if you find Cl at last, means chloride radical at last, if you find nitrate, if you find sulfate, if you find bisulfate, if you find bicarbonate, chlorate, chromate, nitrite, phosphate, these type of radicals, if you find along with some metals, then it is for confirmed salt. So, once you well identify acids and base, you can easily recognize the molecular formula of salt. So, these are the examples here. Now, I am going to show you some other things about this salt. See here everyone. How do we prepare salt, and what are these salts in terms of their definition? See, salts are those chemical compounds which are obtained by the partial or complete replacement of hydrogen atom from acids by metal or ammonium radical. Let me redefine it again. Salts are those chemical compounds which are obtained by the complete or partial, say partial or complete replacement of hydrogen atoms of acid by metal or ammonium radical. See, this is sodium metal. You can see here, this is sodium metal. I may write here SODIUM, sodium. And let me write one example of acid, S2CO3. This is carbonic acid. carbonic, carbonic acid. Look at here, what is going to happen here? When this sodium metal replaces this hydrogen atom partially, see what happens? It forms sodium bicarbonate plus hydrogen gas. Look at here, this is sodium bicarbonate, one of the salts. Sodium bicarbonate, because hydrogen is not fully replaced from this carbonic acid. Since some part of hydrogen still remains here, this salt show the property of acid. That is why we call this acidic salt. This is the fact, because it shows acidic property. Look, whenever this compound sodium bicarbonate is dissolved in water, it releases sodium ion, hydrogen ion and carbonate ion. You can see here, like an acid, this salt has also released hydrogen ion in aqueous solution. Means what? It is acidic property. So whenever something is formed, some salt is formed by the partial replacement of hydrogen, then we must consider that salt to show some acidic properties still. So this is how we get salt, means by the partial replacement of hydrogen, partial replacement of hydrogen from acid by metal, or I said ammonium radical, means NH4 plus radical. So how does salt form when hydrogen is completely replaced from the same chemical reaction? Let's see. Let me write the heading, complete replacement. Complete replacement. See, Na plus H2CO3 Na2CO3 plus H2. Look at this chemical reaction. From this is a bit different, because in this case sodium carbonate is formed, here it was sodium bicarbonate, means hydrogen is completely replaced here. This is how sodium carbonate is formed, means salt is formed. So salt is formed either by the partial replacement or by the complete replacement of hydrogen atom of acid by metal or ammonium radical. So this is how we get salt in lab. These are salts. So there is one more way how do we get salt in chemical lab. Let me show you. Let me rub this first. This is another way we did talk about that way in the chemical properties of acid and base as well. See how do we get NaOH. What is this? This is of course one of the well known strong base. This is well known hydrochloric acid, strongest one. Whenever these two chemical reagents are reacted together, it forms NaCl plus H2O. Look at this chemical reaction. Here it is what? It is called salt. This is salt. Means we get salt by reacting base and acid, or acid and base together. So this kind of chemical reaction is called neutralization chemical reaction, because each of these chemical reagents neutralize each other and form completely neutral substances like salt and water. So this is how we get salt in another way. Now, let me talk about types of salt. As I said you, as I gave you some hint before, salts are not completely neutral in nature. Means not all salts are neutral. This is the point to be kept in mind. Not all salts are neutral. So, please keep this in mind. Not all the salts are neutral, only some. Some others may be of other type. Let me first talk about neutral or normal salt. Neutral / normal means neutral salts are also called normal salts. See, this is just an example of normal salt. Likewise, KCl another example, Na2SO4 another example, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate, potassium nitrate, sodium nitrate. These are examples of neutral salt. They do not show any change with indicators, and they are chemically obtained in lab by reacting equally strength acid and base. That is why they are neutral in nature. So, another type now. Now, acid salt. See, we are talking about types. First, it was normal salt. I already discussed about it. Second, acid salt. See, acid salt means what kind of salt is called acid salt? See, I just few minutes before wrote a chemical reaction. It was when metal partially replaces hydrogen atom of acid, then it forms acid salt. One more time the same example. See here, Na plus H2CO3, NaHCO3 plus H2. Look at this chemical reaction. What does it form? It forms sodium bicarbonate. It is acid salt. I said you already, when this acid salt is dissolved in water, it releases hydrogen ion exactly in the same way acid releases. Means it shows acidic property. That is why it is called acid salt. Sodium bicarbonate is acid salt. Some more examples of acid salt: sodium bisulfate, potassium bicarbonate, potassium bisulfate. These are all example of acid salt because they are all formed from partial replacement of hydrogen atom from acids. So, another types of salt, number third, base salt. There is base salt also, there is basic salt also, there is acidic salt also, and of course neutral. I must say base salt means salt that still shows basic property, that is base salt. We can consider examples: lead hypochlorite, zinc hypochlorite are still showing basic property, means they are not neutral in nature. So, let me clear out this board first. NaOH plus S3 PO4. Look at this chemical reaction. I talked about acid salt, normal salt and base salt. Now here it comes something next. See, I will soon reveal. This is strong base. This is weak acid. We say this phosphoric acid, and this is sodium hydroxide, one of the strongest base. Means the strength of base is more. When these two chemical reagents are reacted together, it forms Na3PO4 plus H2O. Look at this chemical reaction. Sodium phosphate is formed, sodium phosphate, and this is called, look, since the strength of base is more, it would be basic in nature. So it is called basic salt. Look, this is called basic salt because it is formed by reacting strong base with weak acid. So it still possesses basic property. Likewise, one more example, KOH plus H2CO3, or you may write CH3COH. Let me just write CH3COH and here NaOH. That would be easy for you to understand first. NaOH plus CH3COOH. Look at this. This is strong base, this is weak acid, we call acetic acid. This is strong base, this is weak acid, and you must know whenever strong base and weak acid are reacted together, it forms a basic salt, that is CH3COONA plus H2O. Look at this. This is basic salt because it shows basic property. So whenever strong base and weak acid are reacted together, basic salt is formed. But what happens when it is just switched? Means what happens when strong acid is reacted with weak base? Obviously, you may guess well. Whenever strong acid is used instead of weak acid and strong base is replaced by weak base, just another type or contrasting salt is formed which shows acidic property. So this is basic salt. So an example, see, of how you get acidic salt. Acidic salt. See, let me take one of the strong acid, H2SO4. This is a strong acid. When it is reacted with weak base, say NH4OH, look at this, a strong acid, weak base. What happens? See, it forms ammonium sulfate plus water. This is acidic salt because it is formed after chemical reaction between strong acid and weak base. One more example, H2SO4 plus CuO. Look at this chemical reaction. Strong acid, weak base. Strong acid and weak base means CuSO4 plus H2O. Look at this copper sulfate. This is acidic salt. Because whenever this copper sulfate is treated with water or its aqueous solution is prepared, it forms sulfuric acid back. Means what? Copper sulfate is acidic in nature. This is the fact. So, what are the types of salt? Acid salt, base salt, acidic salt, basic salt, and neutral or normal salt. This way we can categorize salt into 5 different categories. Now, since our time is over, I would like to request you to have a good assignment in your home. Read about properties of salt and its uses. Like sodium chloride is used in our kitchen as a edible salt, you must know that. Salt like magnesium sulfate is used to reduce constipation, you must know that. Salt like calcium sulfate is one of the most important salt that is used for plastering of fractured bones. So, there are many other uses of salts you can find through your textbook. So, I guess you will go through that. Thank you everybody for your patience, presence and being with me till now. Have a good day. Bye-bye.